I am Deuce Loosely, Devil's favorite advocate, and my balls are not perfect, but they're certainly not deflated. And this week, this Sunday, the Royal Rumble happens, the annual Royal Rumble, and I'm not even going to talk about Raw because it failed to get me excited for this event, even though the Royal Rumble match is something that I always kind of get a little bit hyped for. Last year, FTW did this thing, which I will call the FTW Royal Rumble Lottery, where we all chose a number between 1 and 30, and whoever came out at that number, we were forced to mark out for the rest of the year, even though I was probably the only guy out of maybe one or two, maybe I wasn't the only one, maybe I was one out of a few guys who actively took part in this, after the fact. Once some guys found out who came out during their number, they were just like, screw this, I'm not doing this anymore, I quit. So, but last year I chose number 16, and Roman Reigns was the dude that came out, and so I got a pretty good draw, and I got to be a Roman Reigns guy for the next year. That comes to an end when the bell rings on the Royal Rumble match this coming year, in 2 days. So, with that having been said, hopefully this year FTW decides to have a second Royal Rumble lottery. And if that happens, I am choosing number 24. That is my number. So whoever comes out at number 24 this year, that's the guy that I am going to have to stick with for the entire year until the next Royal Rumble 2016. Once again, I will be number 24. Let's see what comes out of that, shall we? Anyways, since we're on the subject of Royal Rumble, let's run down some predictions here. And since there are only a few matches on the schedule from the looks of things, this shouldn't take too long. First of all, we have the WWE Tag Team Championships, the Usos, who seem to be the fallback for WWE since they don't have a tag team division to speak of. They have Damien Sandow, and they have The Miz as a tag team. Let's face it, they're splitting up. We know they're splitting up. It's been hinted at, and this team can't last forever. This gimmick is not something that is going to live on for too very much longer. Hopefully not long at all. Hopefully in 2 days we will see the end of this mimicking gimmick, because everyone wants Damien Sandow back, and hopefully this Sunday they'll get that back. Miz needs to learn somehow to stop riding other people's coattails to get by, because he's certainly not getting over. So I am predicting that the Usos retain, and they start the split between Miz and Sandow. I forgot the kickoff match. New Day versus Adam Rose, Cesaro, and Tyson Kidd. God, I really could care less about this match. I really hope it ends in some kind of screwy finish, like someone comes out to interrupt or interfere or something. I want the bunny to come out, and I want it to be revealed to be someone in that costume of consequence. I want to see someone significant come out in the bunny costume, deliberately interfere in the match, cause Adam Rose and his team to lose, and then reveal himself to be someone we all wanted to see. I don't see New Day going anywhere, because really, after the first week, of them being in existence, I think fans were just kind of like, meh, no, I don't think so. So, I am going to take because of shenanigans, because of predicted shenanigans, I really have no choice but to say the New Day wins. But, they still don't get over, which I guess is why they're in the kickoff match, aka the dark match, as it's usually called. But now, since we have the network, and now since we have this kickoff show, there are no such thing as dark matches anymore. So, there you have it. The New Age Outlaws versus the Ascension. Okay, this is something that's been speculated about in terms of trying to get the Ascension over, about trying to get them moving in the right direction. Because they've been wrestling jobbers ever since they got to the main roster. And not even good jobbers, not even jobbers they're near their size. So, Ascension is going to be taking on someone legitimate in New Age Outlaws, but I have a feeling that the E is going to use the Outlaws as a stepping stone for the Ascension in an attempt to get them over, which probably won't happen because this gimmick is awful. It needs to end. They need to switch these guys up in a big hurry, because in the world of Axe and Smash, Hawk and Animal, Barbarian and Warlord, sorry. In a world of tag teams with names like that, Connor and Victor just do not cut it. So, this is going to be the WWE's desperate attempt to get the Ascension over, and therefore they will win this match somehow. Bella Twins versus Paige and Natalia. I really could care less, but I'm going to say that Paige and Natalia win because one of them has to be in line for the title. The quote-unquote Divas title. I choke on that word every time it comes up. Divas. Anyway, triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Brock Lesnar versus John Cena versus Seth Rollins. I doubt there'll be any surprises with this one. Brock Lesnar retains because, from what I keep hearing, his contract extends only until the Raw after WrestleMania. So he's not going to lose it yet. But Seth Rollins is going to establish himself as, not a Lesnar guy. But I have a feeling he will establish himself as a Heyman guy sooner than later. So this is something we need to keep an eye on, because it looks like Heyman has been kind of courting Rollins in some way or other. It wasn't made obvious the past week or so, but it's in the mail just from the way things have looked before. Heyman has given him a helping hand through Lesnar before, so I would not be at all surprised at some point down the road to see Lesnar being screwed over by Paul Heyman when Heyman turns and takes on Rollins as his new Heyman guy. And this will probably happen just as Lesnar's contract is expiring. So if this is going to happen, look for it to happen at either WrestleMania 31 or at the Raw immediately afterwards. But at the Royal Rumble, Lesnar retains. Because, dear God, please don't let Cena anywhere near that title. Please. By all that is holy and some things that are not. Finally, the Royal Rumble match. This is probably going to go one of two ways. Either Reigns is going to get it, or Daniel Bryan is going to get it. This seems to be the general speculation. There seems to be only two names in the minds of fans everywhere about who was actually going to take this, about who was being chosen to win. Now, personally, I think it's too late for Daniel Bryan to be winning the Royal Rumble, even though there are going to be people out there who want him to, but the moment was last year. The big moment would have been last year. And yeah, we got the WrestleMania moment for Daniel Bryan in the end, but at the same time, it was in a three-way match. Wasn't it? Wasn't that the three-way match? Yeah, between Orton and Batista. That's right. So, anywho, yeah, it was last year, and so this year it's going to be too late. They really should let someone else step up, and this would be the good year to let Roman Reigns step up if they decide to use a guy on the main roster, or to use someone who is pretty obvious, which is probably what they're going to end up doing. So I'm taking Roman Reigns to win the Royal Rumble, the match. And speaking of the match, I can't tell you about who I have been hearing as far as surprise entries this year. There are several that I have heard, some of them by name and some of them by where they're coming from. Not so much who, but they're coming from a different direction. So I can't really tell you who exactly that has been named, but this is a reason to watch the Royal Rumble match. All I will say is that my phone keeps going off. I don't know why. But yeah, this is a reason to get excited about the Royal Rumble match this time. So, look for the surprise entries to not be eliminated quickly. That's all I'm going to say. Because these are a big deal. They're going to be a big deal if they turn out to be who I've been hearing about, or who's been speculated about. That's why they're called surprise entries. We're just going to have to wait. So, anyhow, that is all about my predictions. I'm taking the New Day to win the kickoff match. I'm taking the Usos to retain the tag team titles. I'm taking the Ascension to beat the Outlaws. I'm taking Paige and Natalia to beat the Bellas. Like I really care. I'm taking Brock Lesnar to retain in the main championship match. And I'm looking for Roman Reigns to win the Royal Rumble. But once again, stay tuned to the Royal Rumble match for the surprise entries. And if a surprise entry comes out at number 24, I'm not sure how I'm going to handle that for the next year. Maybe I'll just report on news about them, what they're doing and where they've been, where they're going, and whatnot for the next year. Who knows? But hopefully I won't have to resort to that. Number 24 will be somebody on the main roster. So there it is, my predictions for Royal Rumble 2015. I apologize for all the outside noises at the very end there. It happens, and I am not going back to the very beginning to re-record this. Shit happens. That's all I can say. So there it is. My name is Deuce Loosely, the Devil's favorite advocate, and my balls still aren't perfect. And probably never will be.